Can everybody,
Anthony, okay,
can you
we're
hear
going to
me?
talk about how to get started with POTA. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So I call this a POTA starter kit, or how to have fun in the woods, with the subtitle not printed on there and not be really weird for telling people that you went out in the woods by yourself for 2 hours and did stuff. So just a little bit of introduction of where POTA came from, Parks on the Air. I don't remember the year. It was a long time ago that the ARRL had a 1 year event where they said, "All right, go out in the woods, set up a station, and we will we'll give you awards for the contacts that you make." And when it was all over, everybody really enjoyed. A lot of people enjoyed doing it, so they decided that some people decided to get together and organize and make it into an actual function. So continuously developing, and there's over 40,000 parks now worldwide going on. If anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt me.
It was 2016 when it started, and it was a
2016,
conjunction
okay.
with the anniversary of all the park system.
All right, was that when POTA started, or when the
Yes, that's when
ARRL?
Parks on the Air from the ARRL started.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So there's the structure. There's two, I guess, factions, for lack of a better term. One is a hunter, and those are the people that try to find the other faction, the activators. The activators are the people that go out, set up their station in a park, and then try to make contacts. And then with the people, and the people that they contact are known as the hunters. We're going to go through a little bit more each of those factions in detail here in a second. Um, what do you need to be a hunter? Nothing. You need to just sit there and make a contact. You can do it portable. You can do it remotely. You can do it from your house. You can go out in the woods and do it, whatever you want to do. So that's what it is. So all you really need is a radio, an antenna, and a power source, and a means to make contact with somebody that has set up a POTA station. So if you want to be a hunter and you really don't have any desire to go out in the woods, like some folks, or if you don't, like sometimes you don't always have the opportunity to have the time to go out in a park and set up, and you want to be a hunter, the best thing to do would be to first thing to do would be check the spots, and check the spots on the POTA app. And let me see if I can dig this up. If everybody could mute unless they have a question, that would be great.
And you were on vacation. So,
Can, can you mute everybody?
I'll try. I don't, never done that, but let me check into it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let's see here. We're going to go to, so when you go to Parks on the Air website, it's pota.app, app. This is the startup screen. And what you want to do is,
Dave, you lost your screen share.
oh no.
When you switch from the slides, I think you need to restart it.
Yeah, that's going to be a pain in the neck. Oh well, we'll make it work. You got it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that you want to do is to register yourself. So that would be you'll find that on the POTA app over here, on the left-hand side, what they call the hamburger menu, and then there's a place here where you could register. And you want to register if you're a hunter or if you are a activator. It doesn't either one, but that's the way that you get credit. And once you register and sign in, your website, or I'm sorry, your call sign will be over here. So if I was just going to be a hunter, and I wanted to see who the spots were, who was out there today activated, I would come here, sign in, go to the spots page, and you see that, for example, this first one up on the upper left here gives you all the information about him. This is the park. All the parks have a prefix that it's their country symbol. So Canada parks would be VE. The U.S. parks are US. Mexico parks are XE. Germany is DE, I think it is. So this will tell you where that park is, the state that it's in, the frequency that the guy's on, and the mode he's using. The last person to have communicated with him, and the source of this spot would be the reverse beacon, and he was last heard 57 seconds ago. So if you're not interested in doing CW like this guy is, or FT8, you can narrow this all down. So we'll go to 20 meters, and the mode would be phone. And the program is if you want a specific country, so let's just go with the US for the heck of it. QRT, if you want to see the people that signed off, I never found that to be particularly useful, so I don't do that. And the ones that I've hunted, I don't want to see them again necessarily, unless I'm trying to rack up them in a different park. And then you can either sort it by time, frequency, and there's all sorts of ways you can sort that. So here we have a guy. He's in Connecticut at this particular park, and he's on 14308. This is the last person over here that had a contact with him, and then he was last heard 14 around. So whenever this updates, this is different now. Where was 308? So it'll tell you how recent it is. So if you come down, I have mine organized by time. So if you come down here and you see a guy who was last heard from 22 minutes ago, I wouldn't bother trying to call him because he's probably home by now. What you should do as an activator, I'll jump ahead a little bit, is spot yourself as QRT when you leave, and that way you come off of the spots. The system will knock you off of the spots after 30 minutes of inactivity if nobody else spots you. So if I was going to sit at home and be a hunter for the day, this is what I would do: is go here. I would try this guy, the most recent, try this guy, and if I was to make contact with, let's say you want to make contact with this gentleman right here, I would go to respot. And you can put a comment in there if you like. It's not necessary. And then you hit spot. What that does is puts your call sign here and then your comment here and updates how recently that was. So we still have everyone. Any questions? Okay.
Does that trip your transmitter?
Well, I'm sorry, Bob.
Does that trip your transmitter?
No. I don't have this connected to the radio, and I don't know if that's possible. Does that answer your question?
Well, I'm just curious, is it just then through the internet or is it over the radio? If you're contacting or trying to contact that particular station, what happens? Is it just through the internet?
No. You make the contact over the radio.
Right, but I'm asking, when you put that call sign in there, does it trip your radio to not start transmitting?
No.
It does not act like your logging program.
Right.
Does not.
All this does is tell you who is out there and has spotted themselves.
I see. So you have to manually then go to your radio, go to the frequency, and put the call sign in.
Yes. Yeah.
I get you. Okay.
Try to make contact with the guy. And there's a couple of things in POTA that are kind of counterintuitive, and one of those is spotting yourself. Spotting yourself is probably the only way that you're going to get contacts, unless somebody's just spinning the dial looking for you.
Now, just another question. I use Grid Tracker, and there is a opportunity where you can put POTA stations, and it will then show the POTA stations specifically, and you can then just put your cursor on that call sign, and it will trip your transmitter.
That's only for FT8.
Okay.
Grid
That's
Tracker only works with WSJTX.
gotcha.
No. Right? All right. So once you have, let's see if I can make this work without blowing anything up. There's another way that you can find out who's out there, and it is the Field Spotter website, which is fieldspotter.radio. And this is it's amazing to me all the free software that people have made that that just out of the goodness of their heart. And some of it is quite comprehensive and quite complex. So this particular program, this Field Spotter, you can filter out or in or out whatever you want. POTA, worldwide fauna, flora and fauna, bunkers on the air, castles on the air, mills on the air, which I never heard of, summits on the air. I don't have any idea what GMA is, islands on the air, and lighthouses. So let's knock all these out. Let's see who we can find with who's on phone only and on 20 meters. I just use 20 meters as an example because that's usually where I start my endeavors. Okay, so this will show you everybody. This gets its information from POTA. So this information is just a graphical representation of the location of the people that have spotted themselves. So we have there's a guy here. We'll go next near you, Bob. We got this gentleman over here in Oregon. I say gentleman. Statistically that would be a good choice, good guess. So this guy's at the his call sign. He's at the Cape Sebastian Corridor State Recreation Area. This is the frequency. He's on sideband. He is 4,090 kilometers from me. If I have a beam, I can turn it to 290. And he was heard 2 minutes ago. And the last report he got was from somebody in California, and the signal report was 5.5. So this is just another way to get a graphical representation of where everybody is. Sorry for all the zooming around here. We'll come back to this in a minute. That's finding a park. So let's see here if I can make this work without knocking myself off. Huh. Okay. So you don't have to do, if you're just a hunter and you make the content, and this goes back to your question that you had for me last week, Bob, of what logging program you should use as just a hunter. And I kind of, after I got done talking to you, I was thinking about that, and I really gave you some erroneous information because you don't have to do anything. All of the information that in POTA comes from the activators. So if you were to go to POTA, if you were to go to POTA.app and you go under your call sign and hit the hunter log, see what that looks like. This is not working as the way that I was hoping it was going to work. I wanted to kind of go live here. Hang on a minute.
It's just me, but your video is frozen here as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to switch back to my browser from the PowerPoint.
Go to screen share and change which window you're sharing.
Gotcha.
Zoom does not track your cursor. It sticks to the window you share.
Okay. My little thingy down here is not coming up. All right. Let's go to, yes, I'm not getting the bottom of the Zoom screen here. Oh. No, that's not it. Sorry about that. Let's see if doing that will do it. Oh,
There
here
we
we
go.
go. Yeah, all right. You're hiding stuff all over the place here. Okay, so if you were to go to your hunter log, so this is my hunter log, and this will show you that I have two CW contacts, and I don't, and I have no idea how that did that, but that is a mistake made by the activator, not me, because I don't enter anything in on a hunter as a hunter. So that's an error made by whoever entered that information on the activator end. So 392 data, hunters, 76, blah, 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 total of 8,000 and change that I've hunted. And then, but like I said, all this information comes from the activators. The hunters do not enter anything into POTA. And you'll find that on occasion, sometimes hunter or activators will take quite a while, maybe a month or so, sometimes to enter their information, to upload their logs. And there's one guy, K7CAR, and he lives off the grid in Nevada. So he uploads his logs once a month when he goes back to civilization for whatever it is he goes to civilization for. So you'll make contact here and you won't see it in your log and you'll wonder what happened. And sometimes it just takes a while for that to register. And as a result of what the activators enter, you will get awards. And let's see if we can bring that up without ruining anything. Let's see here. Yeah. This is just an example. If I can make this show up. All right. If you go to, this isn't going to work out the way I thought it was going to work out. I'm sorry. If you go to your awards, it gives you a very substantial breakdown of all your contacts, like from which countries, which bands, which modes, and all kinds of things like that. And you'll see that in your awards. And like I said, if you don't see it, if you're working on an award and you're waiting for somebody to upload their log, there's no specific time limit as to when a log can be uploaded as far as the POTA rules are concerned. So, okay, any questions on hunting? Hunting's easy. Just get on there, you make a contact and go away. Okay. So what do you need to POTA? You need a park, excuse me, a park and radio, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Antenna, power source, and some sort of logging system Doesn't necessarily have to be electronic. You can paper log if you um, and if you paper log, just hit yourself in the head with a hammer while you're doing it, so you can it'll make you feel better that way. Personally, when I go out into the woods and do an activation, I don't call attention to myself. I try to go to a most secluded place I can find, and not put out banners and anything like that. But that's personal choice, and if that's something you want to do, what I find is if someone finds me and is curious, they'll ask me what I'm doing, and that means I have to stop what I'm doing and explain it to them, and that kind of breaks the momentum of your activation. You might get somebody to come to your frequency, not hear anything, and they'll just keep moving on, even though you're in the spots. So I prefer not to be accosted by anyone. I've been stopped by park rangers and the police 3 or 4 times, all with positive outcomes. Hey, are you doing POTA? Yeah, okay. We have somebody coming down. We have people come out here all the time and do it. Okay, okay. Or what are you doing? So you give them a quick explanation that you're a Russian spy contacting the mothership that's anchored off New Jersey. I mean, you're doing POTA, and so. All right. So when you want to go activate, you need to select a park, and there's certain criteria for parks that POTA has set up. So it's not your local park down the street necessarily, unless it's a state or national park. There's also wildlife management areas, forests, monuments. In Pennsylvania, there are state hunting lands that are considered to be parks. There's also trails and rivers, like we have a river, just for example, in New Jersey, we have the Upper Delaware River. And if you're within 100 feet of the river, then that's considered to be within the park limits. Same with the trails. We have a trail that George Washington went from somewhere to somewhere, and he walked through New Jersey, and that trail is marked on the map, and you need to be within 100 feet of it in order to have that count as being a park. And there's also parks that overlay other parks. And they're called twofers, threefers, fourfers. There's a 7-fer in Washington, D.C., 7 parks that all overlay each other, and I'll explain that to you. Just hang on in just a second. Trails can be commonly a overlay park because a trail will run through another park. And it may not be running through another park in the whole time in its whole length, but it's in certain places it may run through another park. In that case, you would be in a twofer, and explain the benefits of that in a second here. And then we got the same with rivers. And there's also large forests and wildlife management areas that cover large areas that may have parks in them. This is an example of the New Jersey Coastal Trail, and it's all along the coast of New Jersey, down up of the Delaware Bay, all the way up to Wilmington, Delaware. And as you can see, all these little yellow dots here, those are parks. And like this is Barnegat Light, Lighthouse State Park. This is the Brigantine Wildlife Management Area. You got Cape May down here, Wildlife Management Area. You got Higbee Beach, and all these parks. So how this works is if you go to this park, let's just say, for example, you go to this one right here. This is Mad Horse Creek Park, this little yellow dot right here. So not only are you in Mad Horse Creek Park, but you're also on the New Jersey Coastal Trail. So if you make a contact there, it adds 2 contacts to your tally, to your entire tally. And so that's the benefit of going to these double parks. some places up here, like there's a place right here, where are we? Right here. This is Heislerville Wildlife Management Area, and that there's the Morris River comes in like this, the Coastal Trail, and also the New Jersey Pinelands Preserve, which is like all of this area right here. Everything here is in a Pinelands Preserve. So if you make a contact at Heislerville near the lighthouse, you'll effectively make 4 contacts in your log. So that's the benefit of trying to find these overlay parks. The POTA website. See if I can get on this. If this will let me. Oh man. So now how do I switch this over? Anybody got a hint?
Go to share at the bottom of the Zoom window and share
Yeah,
a
but
different window. It's
it
got
won't-
your. If you go down there, does it appear? Because it hides,
No,
auto hides it.
no, my toolbar or whatever it is comes up. Let me see
All right.
something here.
Jonathan, do I have to do anything?
No, I don't think it's up to you. I think it's up to Dave what he can share, but he
Okay.
needs to be able to get to the button that he can't see at the moment in order. I can see his pain to try and switch the share to the other window, or he
Gotcha.
could share his whole screen, come out and share his whole screen, and then just put the windows on top of each other, either the keynote or the PowerPoint or the browser window.
All right, let me do this. Let me turn this off here. We're going to share, and we're going to share the entire screen.
Then you can choose which window we're looking at. Yeah.
Okay, that works better. Okay, all right. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, so if I go to this website right here, POTA a map, or the other thing you can do is go on the POTA where it comes up with the spots automatically, and you click on this hamburger menu. Like I guess that's a hamburger menu, and you come down and hit map, and it will ask you if you use your location. Yes. So I live right about here, right there. So the closest park to me is Tall Pines Preserve here. So I'll click on that, and I don't go there anymore because somebody installed solar panels on the building across the street from it, and the noise level is about a S12 million.
Oh,
So-
jeez.
We use that for an example. We'll just use this place for an example. So that's the number 7506. Click on more info, and then this will tell you everything you want to know about the park. That 7506 number, latitude and longitude, this early and late shift, I'll get into that a little bit later. There's a website because it's very important that you are in the park. If Now, this isn't brain surgery, so if you're not in the park and you activate by accident, it's not, no children will die. But it's one of those things where, you make every effort that you can to be in the park. So I can click on that, and then this will give me a map of the park. And this used to be a golf course that turned into a Superfund site. They had to close the golf course down because of all the pollution coming down this river. So instead of a golf course, now it's a Superfund site that has a park associated with it. So I have like 20 some activations there. Maybe that had some effect on me. I'm not quite sure. But there's the map here that will tell you where, to make sure that you're within the boundaries of the park. All right. Here's another little resource. Sorry, this is kind of herky-jerky, but this is potamap.something US. And this gives you different way to see the same information. Let me see here. So let's use Oregon, for example, where Bob lives. And you go up here, you choose the state, and then Portland's up here. Now you guide me into where you are from where I am here, Bob. Bob. Okay, Bob.
Bob's still muted. If you want to make it bigger, you could use the green circle up in the top left to full screen it, and then you could, if you do that for each of the windows, you can command and tab through to switch between them.
Okay.
I didn't realize you were on a Mac before. I said that before.
Tigered, I'm just above tigered.
All right. So let's just let's go back to New Jersey because that's what. Oh, here I got everybody's. See, I got to get rid of the. I know where I am in New Jersey here. Okay, so we go to New Jersey, and there's all the parks in New Jersey. I think there's 125 or something like that. But this, we were talking about that Heislerville wildlife management area. So if you zoom in on that and you click there on that little dot, it'll darken the park. So you have all these areas within that wildlife management area that you can activate from. And this gives you sufficient road information to figure out where you can go. There it shows where there's parking, where there's boat ramps that you can get to. So this is another resource to figure out where to go in the parks to make sure that you are in the park that you want to be in.
Dave, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, is there a way of finding out, like in a park like that, where there's lots of different places you could go to activate that park? Is there a way that you can find out where other people have activated from within the park?
No.
I know you don't care probably because you were activating the park, right? I just wondered if you could.
Yeah.
If when they do an activation, do you log where you did it from so that you could get a list of who's been in the same place?
When you go to, let me get back to here. When you go to back here to the map and you pick a park, let's say we'll use Glassboro WMA here, for example. So it gives you down here, it gives you just a little bit of whoever put this or submitted this to be added to the park list we'll add some comments in there, like here's a good place to park. Don't go here, it's muddy. You might find notes in this, but this is the only place that I've seen where anybody would put any notes in about their experiences there.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Dave, one question. Something like the Appalachian Trail or something which goes a long way.
Yep.
Does the whole Appalachian Trail have one park number?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. When you and you'll see this when I show you how to send your log to POTA, it will ask you what state you're in if it's a park that encompasses more than one state.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had 20 activations at this park. I've had 1360 contacts. And the most I talked to is my buddy Roger. I talked to him yesterday. I got over 300 contacts with this guy. I think he sits by the radio and waits for me to get on the radio, which is, I have a little bit of a fan club after doing this for a little bit. And then all of a sudden you don't hear from somebody anymore and you kind of wonder, where they went, but
Comment?
Dave,
yeah.
does it matter where in the park you are, or a park is just totally a park? Doesn't matter the north, south, east, or west. It's just a park.
Correct. As long as you are within you and all of your equipment are within the boundaries of the park.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I was working up in Pennsylvania, so I took radio with me because I knew I'd have some downtime. And I went to a park up there, and there was a gate across the entrance of the park. So I don't know why it was closed, but I couldn't get inside the park. So I did some research on some Google and some Google Maps and stuff like that, and I found out that the park boundary was the road that the entrance road came off of. So the gate was basically 30 feet in the park. So I just pulled right up to the gate, and then I was legal. But it doesn't matter where in the park you go, as long as you're in the park, and everything that you have with you is in the park, all your equipment.
Question?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Bruce, W7BTM. This may be more of a suggestion for whoever writes the software, but it seems to me that the software should be able to tell exactly where you're at through a Google link or through your phone, right? So, or especially if you're using it on your phone, right? Your phone knows exactly the coordinates of your phone at any moment. It'd be cool if you could just pull up the app on your phone and it would say, oh yeah, you're within the boundaries of the park.
Yeah, that would be nice. But nobody has come up with that one yet that I know of. I mean, that may very well be in existence, and I haven't come across it yet.
Now,
Not every
Dave,
park
But
has
I will tell you,
service.
hang on a second, Eric. I will tell you that part of the fun for me is the research to look into these parks, to look into the history of the park. Like there's a park that we have. It's down here. It's called Makepeace Lake Park, and I had no idea why it's called Makepeace. Wildlife Management Area is what it is. So I did some research on it just out of curiosity, and I found out that it was a property that was owned by a guy whose last name was Makepeace. He was a Native American, and he and another person had cranberry bogs out in the pines. And long story short, the two of them, what they did is now Ocean Spray Cranberry Company.
oh,
So it's just interesting to look up these things as circus go. Go ahead, Ark.
yeah, I was just wondering, Bob, when you were saying about that gate near the park, let's say it's a very small entrance, and if you're sitting within the park, but your antenna is just across the edge, does that count, or does the whole setup have to be within the park?
No, the rules say that you and all of your equipment
Ah,
have to
okay.
be within the park boundaries or
Okay.
within 100 feet of a trail or a river.
Mm-hmm.
But they know you're not going to set up in the middle of a river.
Yeah.
And you don't want you to setting up in the middle of a trail because you're going to be in people's way. So
Yeah.
that's why they made that 100-foot thing there.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So let's see, where do we go now? Go to
Oh, there you are. Mhm.
Yep. Okay, so the rest of the rules are pretty simple. Be nice and use some common sense. There are some POTA people that aren't nice. I can think of one guy in particular. I can't remember what his call sign is, but he is just the most obnoxious person I've ever run into. And well, maybe not the most. Not after being a police officer for 35 years. I have some competitors. But but this guy was just, he's just obnoxious on the radio, and nobody wants to talk to him, and he's, this, that, this, that, this, that, and so we try to avoid people like that. You will find that there are people that are not, they don't think that you should be doing POTA, and they will tune it up over you. They'll play music over top of you. They'll make weird noises over top of you. So in order to keep, we just ignore them, and if they seem to go away if they realize that they're not annoying you. And if somebody you're talking to on the radio says, can you hear that guy at the QRM? And they said, no, I don't hear it at all. And then that person kind of takes the wind out of their sails, so that they don't, maybe they'll quit bothering you, go bother somebody else. So to make up for it, I usually go on either 7200 or 14313 and ask if the frequency is clear, because I want to do a POTA activation. It keeps things equal. Equipment is you can be as elaborate as you want to be. You can, I use a DX10. I have a 710. I've used that before. I prefer the DX10. I use LiPo batteries. I have a marine battery, deep cycle battery. If there's a place in the park where you can plug in, I know of one park that has a pavilion that has AC power in it, so you can plug right there. And then also for your antennas, which we'll get into in a second, just be mindful there are park restrictions against doing anything with trees or putting holes in the ground. So you can't do spikes. So you have to kind of do a little bit of research on that, or beg for forgiveness instead of ask for permission. This is a really crappy photo of my setup. I have my tuner is taped to the top of the radio so it doesn't bounce off when I'm driving around. And some of these park roads are a little bumpy. And then this little guy, this is the $12 version of the Yaesu. I forget the model number, but this plugs into the back of the radio there, and you can pre-record your CQs. You can pre-record 5 different messages, and then just push the button and it'll play the message over. In order to use that, make sure that you have break-in turned on. I found out once that I called CQ for 10 minutes, didn't get any answers, and I didn't have break-in turned on, so nothing was happening. Benefit of my experience. Okay, we'll talk about antennas, unless anybody has any questions so far. Let's talk about antennas a little bit. When I first started, somebody suggested me that I should go get a couple of buddy sticks and make a dipole out of them. So I did that, and I used a speaker stand to hold it up there, or I'm sorry, a light stand that I had laying around a garage, and it just blew over in the wind all the time. So that was kind of a pain in the neck. But it worked pretty good. You got some directionality out of it. It was a pain in the neck to tune, because you got to adjust both ends of it to get it to be in tune. But that worked fairly well, and the setup was kind of convoluted. You have to screw it all together, and et cetera, et cetera. So the next thing that I tried was a ham stick and a mag mount, and that's what I use 90% of the time now. It goes on the roof. It takes me 5 seconds to put that antenna into play. I color code all my buddy sticks, so I know which end goes with which. This little item I tried once. This is called what's it called? Stealth antennas. And you put a 17-foot whip on it. It's got a 17-foot radial and 2 5-foot radials, and you just spread them out in different directions. And what's inside that box is some kind of balun system. There's a toroid in there and a capacitor, and I don't know what the magic does, but it seems to work pretty good. You just have to adjust the length of the antenna to whichever band that you're going to be on. I have one of them. I don't use it anymore. I really fall back on the ham stick on the roof with the mag mount, and it's as good as pretty much as good as anything else, especially for the effort to put into it. Here's something I did try recently is I got one of those one of these things is the mirror mount for trucks, and put a landscaper spike in it, pounded it in the ground and put the 17-foot whip in it. And then I ran 4 radials out of this 22 gauge wire. It has an alligator clip on it. So I just clip it onto the bolts here and ran that out in 4 different directions. See that? And for the length of the antenna, what I did was, let me get here. I measured out from the top down the different bands and then used the analyzer to fine tune that, and then I marked out where they should be. So what it ends up being, like if I want that to be a 6-meter antenna, I just lower the antenna until the 6 is lined up with the bottom there, and it gets me right into where I want to be. Same thing with 10, 12, 15, 17, 20, and that's all I can get out of it. Any questions so far? I know that I kind of breezed through that, but I'm not really into all these fancy antennas. I've seen guys put hex beams out for POTA, and I'm like, I'm not. Took me like a day and a half to get a hex beam on my garage roof. I can't imagine taking it out in the woods.
Dave,
Yeah.
is that a string and you just use that to measure the length of the whip?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And this took me twice to figure it out because I'm dumb. You don't put it on the bottom and measure up, you put it on the top and measure down.
Mm.
And it does make a difference.
Mhm.
So what I do is you'll see that it's taped to the bottom of it's tied on and then taped to the bottom or the top of the antenna.
Mhm.
You extend and then the string goes out. You see there's the 6 there. So you just extend the antenna until the 6 is lined up with the bottom.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea. And
Yeah.
Dave, have you found, depending on the terrain that you're in, does that vary a little bit in terms of the length, or is it pretty consistent?
It's consistent enough.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I never get anything over 1.5 to 1, no matter where it is. And the only time I couldn't use this was when the ground was frozen and I couldn't get the spike in.
Mm.
So, and that's just like parachute cord, a little bit thinner. We use it in my industry. We use it to tie up cables. I have like
Comment.
miles of it. What's that?
Comment.
Yes.
You might want to check in certain parks, for example, Valley Forge National Park. The ground is considered hallowed ground. You may not drive a spike into the ground.
Yes.
The park rangers will be very disturbed with you.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And I have an option for that. I put it on a freestanding stand so that it's about 4 feet above the ground. And I run the radials out from that, but it does not go into the ground. But that just takes a little bit longer to set up. And that's one of those things that you really need to do when you're going to a new park that you're not familiar with. You need to research all that kind of stuff and see what's allowed and what's not allowed. I put antennas up in trees with drones, and in New Jersey in the state parks you can't take off or land a drone in a state park, so you're kind of stuck there. So, but yes, you're absolutely right. There are certain places where where you can't. There's also certain places where you can't put an antenna. You can't do anything with a tree. Like you couldn't put a wire up in a tree for an antenna. So that's all things that you really need to research before you go out there and find out. I don't. I'm not sure how much trouble you get into. They probably just tell you not to do it. But if they had to come back and tell you not to do it the second time, you might have more trouble. To probably just tell you to take it out and go. But yes, you're right. Especially Valley Forge, a place like Valley Forge, of course. That certainly, and I've activated that park with a ham stick on the mag mount.
I activated that park with an end fed to a 30-foot telescoping fiberglass pole that was bungee corded to a stop sign, the back of a stop sign.
Oh, nice. Nice. How'd it work? Pretty good?
We got our 10 activations in about 10 minutes.
Awesome. That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So is that string called 12 cord?
The one that I was using?
Yeah.
We call it tie line. I don't know what the official name is, but we just call it tie line.
Yeah, okay.
You could use anything really that's going to be half durable. That stuff's made out of cotton, so it's not gonna. I wouldn't do anything permanent with it.
Waxed cotton?
Sorry.
Waxed cotton?
Yeah, it's kind of sticky a little bit. Yeah.
A 12 cord.
Okay. All right, well,
They use it in the telephone industry.
okay, gotcha. All right. All right, so we talked a little bit about logging. There are specific programs that are designed for POTA. I don't know. A lot of people use N3FJP. I use it at home. That's where I keep all my main log is at home. But I don't use that for POTA. I used to use a program called Hammers that worked in Windows or Mac. And I thought that worked out really, really good. And then Ham2K Polo came along and I started to use that, and it really I found it to be much more substantial than Hammers. So I now use that now, and we'll go over some of the capabilities of that here a little bit later on. Some people use a paper log and then they come home and enter it into their computer and whatever log they want, and that seems, if you want to do that, that's fine with me. I'm not doing that. So, but whatever you need to have an ADIF file that so you can upload it to POTA. That's the criteria. Whatever logging program you use has to have it. It has to be able to export an ADIF file. And like we talked about earlier, only the activators are the ones that upload the logs. Okay, so. Well, like I said, one of the things that was counterintuitive is that you spot yourself, which is from what I understand considered to be bad form unless you're doing POTA. And in order to spot yourself, you go on that POTA app, like we were talking about before here. Go to add spot, and you put the frequency in, the park number, and whatever comments you want to put in, and then spot, and then you'll show up on that list. And I don't want to do that because I'll end up spotting myself from home. If you're in a place where you have no cellular connection, in order to do that, and you can't get on the internet, what I do is I ask the first person that I make a contact with if they'll spot me, and they can do that. They would just go on the POTA app and enter that information in. They can enter in the call sign and the frequency of somebody else, so that would work for that. You can use any band. There's some people that say that POTA is a contest and I had a guy, he gave me a 2-minute speech on how I shouldn't be using 17 meters because POTA is a contest. And when he was all done, I said, thank you for the contact. I put him in the log and I said, CQ, POTA, and 3DRK. And he didn't get back to me. So he was, I guess that annoyed him enough to make him go away. But it's not a contest and you can use whatever band you want. Just call CQ POTA, CQ Parks on the Air. There's some people that get all involved, I'm located in park number US 12345 in southern New Jersey, blah, 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 blah. All that information is on the spot, so you don't really have to, I don't feel as though I need to do that. I will say CQ POTA and 3DRK, CQ Parks on the Air and 3DRK, or just CQ Parks and 3DRK, and you'll get the contact. The exchange, and here's another thing that's counterintuitive to the rest of ham world, is the only thing that you need to do to make a valid POTA exchange is to exchange call signs. So if I say CQ POTA and 3DRK, and somebody comes back to me and they say N2 ASU, and I say 73, that is a POTA contact. You don't need the signal report, you don't need the location, you don't need any of that stuff. However, most people want that information because they're going to put your contact in their log and potentially use it for some other purpose. So they would need all that signal report information. So you'll hear people that they'll give each other signal report information. But if I have somebody that their signal is so bad that I can barely make out what they're saying and I got their call sign down, that's good enough for me because that's within the rules and that goes in the log. So when you get, however you want to do it, when you get, for uploading your log, you go to back on this POTA page, under your call sign, and you'll see a place for log uploads. And you take your ADIF files, which your logging program has exported, and you drag them up into this block, them or it, either one. And then they're going to ask you 2 questions. Is everything true to the best of your knowledge? And I forget what the other question is. And you just check those 2 boxes and hit upload. And then after a while, so like this one, this US 5000, that's the Wharton State Forest. So that once it's processed, it'll show up on your list here. And then 6609 is the Pinelands Preserve. So it's an overlay park. Wharton State Forest is contained within Pinelands Preserve, so you get credit for 2 contacts for every contact that you make here when you're in that particular set of circumstances.
Now, Dave, when
Yeah.
you're using the ham2k Polo and you create the ADIF file and you're in 2 parks, will it separate those out, or how does it do that? Or do you have to, because I think you can put 2 parks in your page on ham2k Polo, I believe.
Yeah, I can, we'll see what the interest is, and I can demonstrate how to use ham2k Polo if anybody's interested, to the basics of it. There's also some really good information, really good YouTube tutorials on how to use that particular program. But to answer your question, yes, if I set up a log that has 2 parks, 3 parks, 4 parks in it, when I export it at the end, it'll give me an ADIF file for each park that I'm in.
Oh, okay.
So if I was in that one in DC that's 7 parks and I set up my log to record all 7 parks, then I would get 7 ADIF files.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then Dude, you can get all kinds of weird awards. I don't know where they come up with these names. I can't even pronounce half of them. I'm not an award type person. So I don't really pay attention to this. But if you go to my awards, then that's what you'll see is not my awards, your awards. Um, and you get some idea of your accomplishments in that respect. And unless you want me to do some demonstrations on polo, MTK polo, that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them.
I think
Okay.
you've just dazzled us with your background.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, I have to. This is going to sound like bragging, but I just want to give you my qualifications. My stats here. I have what am I up to? 50,698 contacts,
Holy cow.
727 activations at 157 parks. So, and I've activated. Oh, that's just in the United States. In Alaska, I have 7 activations. When I visit my son in Alaska, I take a radio with me, and he lives. If you walk out his back door and go about 15 feet, you're in the Tongass National Forest. So I just I just run out back there and set up a table and we just sit out there and make some contacts. Most of the contacts that I had there were FT8 because the conditions weren't too great the last time I was there. So this will give you. Yeah. Matter of fact, I had 8 attempts with 7 activate. There's nothing. You have to have 10 contacts to consider it to be a valid activation to go toward your statistics. If you do not get 10 contacts, still update your log because all of your hunters will get credit for that contact. I just confused myself. Did that make sense?
So even if you have 7 contacts, all the hunters will get those credit for those
Yes.
contacts with you.
Yes. Yeah, because if you say, all right, well, I didn't make my 10, I'm not going to bother uploading my log because I don't want to have a non-activation credit, then you're knocking out all the 5, 6, 7, 8 people that you contacted. They're not going to get credit for being a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, here's another little thing I was thinking of when I talk about in the hunter log. You'll see some of these say P2P over here. Those are park to park. So this guy, what is this? This is July 23rd. I contacted this guy and he was in this park and I was in another park. I don't know what park I was in, but it was so, you hear him say KE8 NHH CQ POTA, and you say park to park N3DRK, and he gets he comes back and he says you're 5'9" in Florida and I'm at park number 3657. So once you put that in, you get a hunter credit and also a park to park credit toward your total statistics. So that would be in, nope, not there. Stats.
Oh, there is a category for park to park.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. File. No, awards. That's it.
Someone's put a lot of effort into this software. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really very comprehensive.
It is, yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, Ron up in Nova Scotia, I've had 363 contacts with him. We're almost related at this point. This guy, Scott, K3SDM, all he does is, he goes out in the park. So every contact I make with him is a park to park. And we've done that 144 times. Here's a guy I was talking to about before, K7CAR. He's the one that goes off grid. And, I got 66, and all he does is FT8. He doesn't do any phone. So all of those contacts are not park to park because I don't do FT8 in the parks because I can never get my computer to work with the what you call it, with the radio. Let's see what else we got here. Repeat offender, I've activated Pineland Preserves 138 times. I don't think this is necessarily up to date. I got 86 out of the 120 parks in New Jersey. These are all the states that I've managed to activate, and these are all the states that I've hunted. So if I'm over here in one of these states and I activating and I hit a park to park, it'll show up, it'll go give me credit toward this hunted side. So they're all kind of related. So,
Dave, I got a question.
yeah, go
got
ahead.
a question.
Sure.
If you had, let's say, 7 contacts, you're a hunter, you got 7, you don't have your 10. Does that carry over to the next day, or they're just wiped out at the end of the day?
No, it just counts as as I forget what they call it. It's not a failed activation, but it's not a complete activation. It won't yeah, let me show you here something.
Well, it'll count for the statistics on the park people, but not on the hunter side.
It's the other way, isn't
Other
it?
way around. It'll count toward the hunters.
Okay.
It'll count toward the hunters. So
Right.
so I have 727 activations, and I do whatever the math is here, 20 or 15 or 20 failed. There's 742 times I activated, only 727 I was able to get 10 contacts.
Gotcha.
Oh. Probably due to propagation.
Yeah, exactly. And if I could get the computer to work, I could have probably squeaked out another couple of contacts with the FT8.
Dave, another
Dave,
question. Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry, Jonathan,
Yes.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Eric. Yeah, just a quickie. Dave, you mentioned about early and late shift stuff earlier on, but you didn't
Oh,
come
yeah.
back to say what that
Oh.
is. Could you
Yeah.
elaborate?
Yep. If you go to,
I saw it in this page as well. Further down, it talked about
Yeah,
how many
I see.
early and late shift ones you've done.
I saw that too.
let's go here out of Wharton. Okay, so the early shift is 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then the late shift, it doesn't make sense.
At UTC.
Yeah, but there's a gap in here.
Yeah. That should be 23, shouldn't it? Not
Yeah.
13.
Let's find another park.
That's the same.
Same.
Oh, it's the same.
But what it is let's say you had 8 contacts and 1,300 came around and you had 2 more after, that would be 2 failed activations.
Oh,
Great.
So that's what that's all about.
so the early and late count as separate activations then.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't stay out too late because I'll get lost coming home. And you wander around the woods.
Get lost in the woods.
Yeah, I did that once. Yeah. Uh,
He's just thinking you look even more weird if you're at
yeah,
midnight
yeah. Like I could have sworn I was going out the same way I came in. You're right.
in the woods.
Um,
Park ranger finds lost park activator.
Yes.
find skeleton with headphones on.
Right, right.
Disoriented.
Yeah, so that's what that's all about.
Oh.
So now I'm gonna complain a little bit. Each state has a what they call a mapping representative, and each state in the United States has a mapping representative. Each country that's in the system has a mapping representative. The mapping representatives are volunteer, and some of them are really good, and some of the ones, like the one in New Jersey, suck. And like I've handed him all the research on a silver platter of all he has to do is verify my research and then enter it into the system, and it'd take 5 minutes of his time. And I've had ones that are pending since last November. Parks in New Jersey. So I've complained up the chain of command. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to send a guy an email saying, "Listen, if you don't want to do this, I'll do it." And then if that doesn't work, go on. We have a New Jersey POTA Facebook page. Maybe I'll shame him on there. But I mean, there's probably another 40 parks in New Jersey that could be in the system. On one way or another. So,
Dave, is that a volunteer position or is he
yeah,
a paid?
everything is volunteer and POTA.
Oh, okay.
So when I complained up the line, they were like, "Well, everybody volunteers, and we don't really want to give anybody a hard time," and blah blah blah. And I said, "Well, how about us? We're the ones that are suffering because somebody else isn't doing what they said they would do." And it's not fair, I tell you, it's not fair. Did you guys want to take a look at AM2K Polo? Not all at once.
Maybe briefly, yeah.
All right, let me see if I can pull this off, because it only works on an iPad or an iPhone. It doesn't work on a computer. So what I have to do is go on.
It works on an Android phone too.
Oh, it's on Android now?
Yeah, I've used it on my Android phone.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Because all I gotta do is fire up my. Okay, so we have to unshare this.
If you've got your iPhone mirroring on the latest Mac OS, you can mirror the iPhone on the Mac screen and share that.
All right, so
Now we've got an echo on Dave, I think.
Echo link.
Echo link. Dave, while you're doing that, from a hunter standpoint, I find in the Polo app very nice because you can just put in a band and it's by frequency, and you can just run down the frequency and knock off a bunch of people that way if you can hear them.
yeah. How am I good?
Maybe you can filter it that way in the Polo app. I mean, in the POTA app as well. I don't know. I haven't tried that.
The echo is because Dave's on twice, one from each
Right,
device.
yeah, with two devices there, yeah.